I'm very happy to introduce to you all the Sanford Burnham Medical Research Institute. Now, you say, okay, in the Space Coast, why is medical research important? Well, first of all, astronauts have to go into space, and they have to have life support. That is a very big issue. So how medical research plays out on the Space Coast is going to be very important in our space future. Now, Sanford Burnham is actually a nonprofit research institute, and it is a very high-impact nonprofit research institute. And in my opinion, having watched Orlando recruit Sanford Burnham, I was very happy to see this because the research focus at this institute is highly important for not only spaceflight, but also for medical research for the entire world. And Sanford Burnham definitely plays in that world. We're fourth among research institutes in NIH funding, which means our scientists are highly entrepreneurial in raising their own research funding. And number one worldwide in terms of citations in biology and biochemistry. So Sanford Burnham is very well known among scientists, even old scientists like me. Now, Lake Nona is actually trying to recruit not only the Anchor Research Institute in Sanford Burnham, but many hospitals which will research human medical disease. And our focus at Lake Nona, at the Sanford Burnham Institute at Lake Nona, is around metabolic diseases, diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease. However, the sort of new thing that we bring to the table is for a basic medical research institute to have drug discovery capabilities and to have experienced business development leadership is very novel, and it will hopefully give us a new approach in terms of translating our discoveries into new medicines. For example, we have a state-of-the-art robotics and ultra-high throughput screening facility that will allow us to not only discover drugs in a very efficient way, but also convert the drug discovery to applications to genomics, which will give us a further step in terms of medical research. The goal of our whole Center for Genomics and Chemical Discovery is, first of all, drug discovery, and second of all, to provide reagents, novel reagents, to our researchers and allow them to have novel tools that other researchers may not have going forward. So we know we're in a highly collaborative area, especially here on the Space Coast and in Orlando. And Sanford Burnham started out on the right foot by making a partnership with my alma mater, Duke University. So I'm very proud to say that the metabolomics functions at Sanford Burnham are supported by another state-of-the-art metabolomics group up at Duke, the Sarah Stedman Nutrition and Metabolics Center, where they actually study metabolism from all aspects. Now, this is a very important thing for astronauts in space because your metabolism works differently in low gravity or weightless situations. So we're hoping to exploit all of this technology to maybe help out in that area. One of the other aspects of Sanford Burnham is that we've forged a joint venture with the Florida Hospital in creating the Translational Research Institute and have recruited Dr. Steve Smith, who is one of the foremost diabetes and obesity researchers, to provide us with the ability to move our basic research component into man very quickly. And we believe that this gives us the most sophisticated translational capability among research institutes and makes us very unique. Now, this is a very complicated slide to basically let you know that it takes a very long time to get a drug onto the market. From concept to discovery is much greater than 12 years, and it can take $1 billion of research money. So what we're trying to do is not only discover drugs, but to expedite the ways, provide new technologies, new ideas, so that we can get the drugs into man faster. And the reason we're doing this is that we actually work in the front end of it. We do the basic research, the target identification, and many of our discoveries fall into what is known as the valley of death. They don't get developed. They don't get moved on into the market. And this is, of course, very discouraging for many basic researchers. So my job as business development person is to help bridge this valley of death. And the way we hope to do this is with a very novel and sort of forward approach to business development, where we take an entrepreneurial approach and sort of provide our basic researchers with this, not only with our assistance, but giving them the guidance to do the same themselves. We have a very collaborative culture, and if they collaborate with their cohorts in the lab, they'll collaborate with folks at NASA, at Florida Hospital, and other places as well. And in doing so, we hope to tap into new funding mechanisms, which will also accelerate discovery. The partnership strategy that has been brought forth by our business development team is really based on the fact that the pharmaceutical industry itself has cut back on basic research. It's too risky for them. They have plenty of pipeline candidates further along in the clinic that they can put their money and time into. Sanford Burnham is a basic research institute. Somebody has to provide those seeds of discovery. So why not take advantage of our cutting-edge science and tell the pharmaceutical industry, look, we're here. We have these great ideas. Why don't you tap into us? And so that's what we've done. And we're currently talking to several companies and hoping to draw more to the Lake Nona area to look at our capabilities. And eventually we plan to sign some deals to help the industry do its discovery. Our whole culture supports innovation and entrepreneurship at Sanford Burnham, and this is bi-coastal, both in La Jolla and at Lake Nona. We do provide startup guidance and a network of entrepreneurs and investors, as well as our own expertise, to all of our scientists. And we have quite a few that are interested. Our mission in business development is to commercialize what comes out of their laboratories to the best ability for the Institute to use that technology. Sometimes that means a partnership, sometimes that means a license to another company, and sometimes that means the best way to commercialize that is to encourage the inventor to spin out a company. So we're well aware of that, and we hope that this happens at Lake Nona more rapidly than in other places because of our great investment in technology. And we certainly hope that working with UCF and other universities in the area, that will provide some of the scientists to work in the laboratories in the future. So in summary, Sanford Burnham is a nonprofit research institute, and we have a partnership program that takes our world-class scientists engaged in medical research and lets them help other industries and hopefully maybe even the NASA and the government pushing forward the biological frontiers of science. Thank you.
For those of us who've known Emeritus Congressman Lou Frey for more than 20 years, we appreciate the opportunity to share with the future of Florida. You are the future of Florida. To share with you some new technologies and things at our three great universities, UCF, USF, and UF, the universities we partner with at the Florida High-Tech Corridor, to engage you and share in 10 minutes a few things that we think are important to you and how you can be part of what we're doing and be part of Florida's future. And if that works. Our start came thanks to President John Hitt, President of UCF, and his effort to help us save at AT&T a little $1.3 billion, 1,000 job expansion from going offshore. we did that, and John Hitt had an epiphany, called Betty Castor, who was then president of USF, and said, you know, we pledged our research capability to help a major company stay in our state and grow in our state. We can do this. We can do this with companies of all size, whether they're large or small. And so that is the basic history of our initiative. We got our start in 1996, and you see our mission statement. Not to be Lincolnian on you, but Dan Holzenbeck here at UCF gets the credit for writing pretty much that same mission statement on the back of an envelope while trudging through the halls in Tallahassee. So to grow high-tech industry and innovation through research, workforce, and marketing partnerships. There's our three co-chairs, UCF President John Hitt, USF President Judy Genshaft, and UF President Bertie Manchin. Our council is made up of 24 corporate leaders throughout the 23 counties in the central part of the great state of Florida. It's an advisory council. It's not a boring board meeting where they got to attend each month and they got 3 or 4 subcommittees. No, these are the CEOs of major corporations in your backyard, and as well as, in some cases, the VP of Research for Harris Corporation, Kent Buchanan, for instance, for those from Brevard County. I heard a few when the congressman was here. Brevard County, did I hear Brevard County? Somewhere around here. So Kent Buchanan, VP of Research for Harris, is a member of our council. The real work of our organization is done at the core team level. Some 80 folks are on our core team, and every Tuesday morning at 7:45, unless it's a holiday week, we are convened on a half-hour conference call, and some 40 folks report on the activities that are going on across our region. Each year we engage about 20 major committees in this effort, and we have about 400, some close to 500 volunteers. I'm going to run through this slide real quick. It's just a summary for you of the things I'm going to cover, the things that we do as an organization. And please, if you would, these are the things that I think there's an opportunity for you to engage in when you come to UCF or USF or UF, or if you haven't made up your mind yet, please consider our 3 universities. Lou said this is an effort to show what is being done to help the aerospace industry in the light of a surplus based on the shuttle of some 10 to 12,000, depending on the day of the week, the phase of the moon, and who you're listening to. But these are the other technologies that are present in our region, the companies in our region that focus on these. And for those of you who are familiar with UCF or USF or UF, you'll recognize immediately these are the strengths of our 3 universities. So focus on those industry clusters. So whether you're in a technology direction, a business direction, a communications direction, doesn't matter. You're going to affect any one of these industry clusters that you elect to go into. Here's the strength of what we do. Here's the strength of why we are the current holder of the International Economic Development Council's best example in the world of a university corporate economic development workforce state college partnership. And last week, Ed Shones and I had a chance to venture to Pittsburgh to receive the State Science and Technology Institute's top award for this same initiative. So take a look at the numbers, if you would. We've engaged with more than 300 companies. That number is a little shy. It's closer to 1,200 projects, research projects. We've provided about $55 million now to those projects, and the return is $900 million. So for those of you in the audience who are heading into an accounting or economics track, look at the return on that state money. I would submit, no, the more important is the potential for you to participate in what we're doing. Because look at the number of the starving graduate and doctoral students that were engaged in these programs, engaged in the future of Florida. Co-ed came up to me a couple years ago and said, this is really a retention program. I said, yeah, it is. In the state of Florida, in one of our state universities, you and your family pay about 25% of the cost of your education. The state bears the other 75%. So anything that we can do through this program to give you a chance to do a real meaningful research project with a company that hopefully will end up hiring you, it's our way to keep you here and let you be part of our future. Here's some emphasis at both ends of the corridor, and we bulged a little in the center to pick up University of Florida. But look at the areas of emphasis. All right, now whether you're pursuing, again, a business track or a technology track, this is the emphasis that the universities are placing. These are the partnerships we're placing in terms of where we're heading with our matching grants program. And included, of course, is the bio-life sciences, which we just heard from our good representative from the Burnham, from Leslie. Now, if you haven't made up your mind yet, and you haven't made it to UCF, USF, or UF, and you're considering your options, whether it's an immediate track to a university or a track through one of our state colleges, notice the associate degrees that the corridor has funded, because the industry in your region that looks to hire you needs technicians. And we said, okay, we're going to help you get those technicians, but more important, we're going to help you as a technician go ahead and get your baccalaureate, make it a seamless transition between a state college and one of our 3 universities. So take a look at the different technologies that we have supported through associate degrees that our corridor team has funded. And then take a look at an interesting fact. But the professors that helped us develop these programs in every one of those industry clusters you saw said, I can't get the students to go into it. So about 12 years ago, members of my team put together a tech camp. Now, we all love field trips. These are field trips for math and science teachers and students to find out what it's like to work in a high-tech company. The very companies where we hope you will stay in Florida and go to work one day. Tom O'Neill, Dr. Tom O'Neill here at UCF was being chewed on for starting a company, quote unquote, on university time. So Dr. M.J. Swallow, VP of Research here, and his mentor said, well, go do it in the research park. That way nobody can, take pot shots at you. So he did. And through that effort, created the UCF Technology Incubator. Now has an incubator network of some 10 incubators. So when you add those incubators to the ones at USF and UCF, this is a place where you do have a part. All right? I'm going to close this presentation in just a moment to share with you the example of how you can be part of it. Because these folks started the companies in the incubator. And look at the numbers. 150 companies. Look at the number of jobs that have been created. These are created mainly by graduates or almost graduates of our 3 universities. We don't limit it to folks who are associated with the 3 universities, but they're the preponderance of the folks who are involved in these incubators. If you're going to go into government and you're going to hold our taxes even, which we would ask you to do, those of us that have silver hair in the audience, all right? If you're going to go into government, look at the return. Look at what has been invested in just 3 universities. We did a study a couple months ago, about 3 months ago, did a study, and right now in the first 3 incubators at UCF, we invest $875,000 a year from cities and counties, the university, and the corridor. Look at that return. So if your track is going to take you to city or county or state government, look at this return that these incubators are driving to your local economy. If you're looking to start a company, check this website, www.flvec.com. You'll find every listing in our 23 counties, the counties that are highlighted, every listing, city, state, county, federal, as well as commercial postings of organizations in place to help you as an entrepreneur start or grow a business. All right, so you've got an incubator company, you've graduated, now what do you do? Well, in Florida, thanks to Dr. Tom O'Neill again and the Florida Economic Development Council and our good friend Ed Shones again, who's the incoming chair of that organization, in place in the state of Florida is about $3.5 million of funding to help companies grow in our region. And last but not least, check us out on our website. Now, this is the one I'm told to share with you, but I really prefer visitthecorridor.com. And when you do, you'll see Wendy Chioji as an avatar. Honor her because now she's running a bicycle shop out in Colorado as opposed to being an anchor for Channel 2 News. She'll give you an overview of what our corridor's about in a high-tech welcome center. All you got to do is click on anything in this site and see what we're about. Let me close with Dan Reaney. Anybody in the audience by chance besides Ed Shones know Dan Reaney? Thank you, Greg. I knew you would. All right. Came to Canada, to Florida, on a water ski scholarship because his parents were Olympians. Now, Canada water ski Olympians. Okay. Came to UCF on a water ski scholarship. Got his undergrad, his master's, and his doctorate degree in engineering. Graduates. Doesn't have a green card. Tom O'Neill's pretty sharp. He said, well, let me help you start a company because if you start a company in our state, you get to stay. All right, Reaney Technologies is our poster child. He's been through our incubators. He's had matching grants programs from us. He's hired you. All right, he now has about 35 employees. Average payroll $70,000 to start. He has about 15,000 square feet of manufacturing space. And the technology he has is a storage device. Hold that bottle up, please. Yeah. Fits inside the uniform of first responders, a cooling system. So his expertise is in micro-cooling systems for lasers and optics, and this is a sidebar. This is what you can do in Florida's future. Get into UCF, USF, and UF and help us make it happen. Thank you.
Luke from Texas A&M. Students at A&M get in a lot of trouble because when someone says, they go whoop, whoop, whoop. And, everybody, professors all get excited and mad and all that stuff. So I'm at alumni gathering, and they're doing the student scholarships. And this guy gets up he graduated with a 2.00175. He had one extra grade point from A&M, tried to give it, your roommates call your old lady, to his old lady, and they wouldn't let him do it because the roommate had a 1.9972. Well, the two of them stood up and wrote a check for like $500,000. He said, we want to give this money to accept anybody in the school to keep them going under a 2.1 GPA. So whoop. You're the group I look to talk to. I don't get to talk to you. I get to talk to all these executives and these folks running around here. You're what we're looking for, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden it dawns on me, and so hopefully I'll get to the point. The sky is not falling. Throw away your newspapers and turn off the TVs. We are in a tremendous transition period. Your parents, your grandparents, and even your future families will probably not have an understanding of what happened as they analyze what's happened in the last few years. I'm in the optimism business. I'm on the other side of the curve. I see so much opportunity here. Florida is so well positioned. Do we have problems? Yes. This transition to the space industry is absolutely critical to maintaining these jobs. One lost job or one job is not captured is going to be critical. The housing market, you hear a lot about that. You know what, I just talked to the Economist magazine. I said, you know what, it all of a sudden dawned with me. You have the opportunity to go out and set a company up and build houses. You want to sell them, but you've got that opportunity to make that decision, whether it's good or bad. We will absorb this housing market. This state is growing, and it's not shrinking. We're the third biggest state. No one wants to talk about that. We passed New York. We're going to pick up 1 or 2 congressmen. So any of you can run for Congress. If you don't, well, how old do you have to be? 25? Okay, when you get to 25, you can run for Congress. You know, you don't even have to live in the district to run for Congress. You got to live in Florida, but you can run for that open seat. We're the 16th or 17th largest economy in the world. The Republic of Florida is bigger than Argentina or Canada and all these other countries. So we've got an opportunity here. Is it the arrow right there? Yes, sir. And so what I want to do is fast forward through and look at a couple of opportunities and give you a look at what's going on. On the short story on Enterprise Florida, someone was talking about public-privates. I really believe it's going to be the public-private partnership that drives the future. Enterprise Florida, there used to be a Department of Commerce 15 years ago. They collapsed it, had hundreds of employees. I've got 61 arm hanging, 724 employees. They're all like independent agents. These 20 and 30-somethings I have working for us are almost out of control. They Twitter, they do stuff I can't even pronounce. Our website, the secret of our website, I have to be able to use it. I'm the lowest common denominator. To drive this new economy, we've got to be out there. And to do that, you've got to do 2 or 3 things. You've got to brand the state, but you've got to brand yourself also. So this meeting is to keep the focus on branding the space industry, export promotions. We are absolutely a leader in international business, and I'll get back to that in a second. Inbound investment, and obviously one of the main things we do is yearly. Well, we do it yearly, but we do it robustly every 3 years. We look at the strategic spots in Florida to where we're going to push this economy ahead. And it's called the Roadmap for the Future. It's on our website. If you're looking where the future jobs will be, you might want to, I'll talk about where they're going to be, but this might give you an insight into that. You might notice Florida in the background. This was taken from the space shuttle. Diversify the economy and attract jobs and investment. That's what we're after. Enhancing the local jobs. It's one of my most favorite, it is my most favorite picture, looking at it. There you are on the top line. This is my challenge. I meet with companies and builders and bankers, and what we're worried about is the talent pool, building world-class talent. I was sitting in the back there, and I looked over to one of the students, and I said, how are you doing? Fine. What do you think about this? Not bad. I asked him, what is your major? And he said, political science. Well, you would think, the next economy would be you'd have to be engineering or science. You do need that. We do need that. You can write your ticket in aero, engineering, bio. It is the new economy. But that political scientist I was sitting next door back there, we got policy problems. You heard the senator up here talking about that. We have got to figure out the policy for the future. We've got to have some folks stand back with the perspective that you're going to bring to this to make sure that the medical communities that Burnham are putting in. Randy, I know a little fact about Randy. I see Randy all the time. Him and I are cross paths, and invariably we talk about one common denominator we have. He worked for AT&T forever, 50, 60, 70 years. I had the privilege of working for AT&T for 121 days. I was going in the air, hey, that's a long time. My draft number was 2. I was going in the Air Force. It was during the Vietnam War. They had to do something with me, so they sent me to Atlanta, Georgia to work in Bell Labs, and that was part of it. But Randy has the distinction, and he might not know this, but not only did he help create, but retain one of the largest companies ever in the history of the state, up to 1,000 employees, that they then had to transition those into their new economy at that time. So I'll get back to that in a second. But this talent is critical. So whether you're in political science or what you're doing to prepare to get into it, be bullish, hang in there. I need you in the workforce. When these companies come in here, they don't ask me about insurance. I got everybody politician. What about insurance? What about this? What about that? They come in here, they send their families to Disney. This is a real easy thing to figure out. We have got the sun, sand, and sea. We got that covered. We got golf covered. We've got all that covered, but they're saying, where are going to be my employees? What am I going to have? What are we going to do? So you have got a tremendous opportunity. The transition in the space industry, we are looking at targeting companies, obviously, to come into Central Florida and the Space Coast and all of Florida to be able to absorb these jobs. Solar, battery, lightweight materials. Look at your thumb. Everybody look at your thumb. While you have sat here right now, your thumb has grown a nanometer. Huh? What's that? That is the thickness of the layers that they're combining to put on top of the new 787 Dreamliner aircraft. That's the layer that they're looking at biomedicine in agriculture. Whoever's going to make the breakthrough, that'll be great. Solar. You know, everybody's running around like crazy about solar. Whoever in this room figures out how to get 10x absorption out of that wafer, you will be drinking pina coladas at Cocoa Beach the rest of your life and retired. Not bad, huh? If you can figure out how to take a battery, and the one Randy was holding up where everything is being compressed, if you can figure out how to take this battery in this size and put it into this that has 10 times the battery of this, you'll be drinking margaritas in Key West. I can guarantee you it's going to happen. And it's going to happen from somebody sitting beside you in this room that we are looking to make that go. The other part of this is international. Remember, everything is international. Everything. Learn a language, and a computer is not a language. That's a given. Your competition is everywhere. I'm in Beijing. I've gone out to dinner. We've had some adult beverages. It's about 1:30 in the morning. And we're coming back down the highway, and the traffic is jammed. And I'm looking over, I'm sitting in the back of the bus. There's about 10 of us in there. And I have the interpreter sitting right there by me. And he's talking about all this, the country and all that. And I'm looking down in this long schoolhouse. What I didn't realize, the schoolhouse, and every light is on. It's 1:30 in the morning, and in each room, for it seemed like a half a mile, there were 3 people in the room. So here I'm on the highway, and we're edging along. The traffic's jammed at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. When you got, 25, 30 million people in one city, you realize more people take the SAT for practice in China than we have our population of 300 million? More students take it for practice. They're after your job, okay? So anyway, and here's the proof. We're sitting there in the bus looking down. There are 3 people in each room. There's a student, looks like a 5th, 6th, 7th grader, sitting at the computer. There's a person sitting behind the student, and there's another person sitting by the student. I said, what is that? Oh, that's computer training. It goes 24 hours a day. They fight to get those 1-hour slots. You've got the student at the computer. You have the mother or father sitting behind them, and they are not supposed to say a word. How about that? And you have the teacher there. And they rotate this out. I said, what about the electricity? Electricity doesn't matter. We have got to get our students up to stream. That is your competition as you go forward. Keep that in mind. How do we do this? locally and to the state level. It's through collaborations. Nothing's done one-off. I'm not going to read this off, but in your communities, you see it and you might not even realize it, whether it's the universities, it's the AP courses that might put you in a job in the summer, it's your chambers of commerce. The secret to Florida is that we're able to have a lot of people to have a stake in the game. Now, what are the key sectors? We don't give up any sector, first of all. Some states have 30 or 40 lists. Tourism, agriculture, that is our base industry. We know that. Real estate is tremendous. But as we look at the new era and we look at the new technology, we say, what is out there? And this is a look at the sectors that you might want to keep in mind where the jobs are going to come into. And they fall into biotech that you heard about, aerospace, that we're looking into space technology, clean tech. Everybody's around clean tech. Define it, be specific, be a breakout person, and you will be a leader in the industry. Marine manufacturing, this is a no-brainer, but the marine part about it is in the materials, the nanotechnology, the new avionics, with the same things they use in airplanes, they're using in the ships and the hardware there. Financial services. Florida clears more money than any other state in the union. We have 3 different centers, Tampa, St. Pete, Miami, and Jacksonville. People don't realize that we clear nearly $2 trillion that go through this state for the worldwide economy as they decentralized the systems. And of course, IT and defense is a given. Finally, let me get to a couple of comments. I think we have space up there. I think Frank DeBello gave you a good look at the space concept. Be a part of it. Be aware of it. What I think is the biggest part of this is to keep in mind the multiplier effect. What we're trying to do is 3 or 4 things, and I wrote them down. Number 1, diversify this economy. And it's in jobs and areas we don't even know about. Number 2 is the multiplier effect. We don't know what the spin-off to some of these things is. Let me tell you what happened to me at Bell Labs. I'm trying to find a job, and the jobs were very bad at that time. I mean, it was a very bad market, so I've got to do something before I go in the Air Force. I go in the Air Force, I think they paid me $587 to be a lieutenant. And I thought, I can hardly wait to do this. I'm going to be a lieutenant. You know, what a deal. But I was going to get to fly, and they were going to pay me to do what I wanted to do, so you can't beat that. So they send me this lab, and they send me the lab called Joint Characteristics Lab. And I walk in there, and, you know, I got all these PhDs, and there's scientists from Europe, and I mean, they're doing all this high-tech stuff, and all we are I'm lower than a snake's belly in a wagon rut. I mean, I am the lowest person in there, okay? And so I'm thinking all I'm going to do is be bringing them lunch. They said, well, now you're going to get to work on the new product we have. And I'm thinking, what's the new product? It's fiber optics. So what's fiber optics? And they close the door, top secret. He says, we've got this new thin glass stuff that we're going to put microwaves through and technology, but we don't know how it stands up. So you got to do the testing. So I got to tell you my greatest story. So I said, what do? We're going to do everything we can to. I said, what do you mean? I said, it's glass. It breaks. It falls apart. You got to put it in the ground. He said, well, let's do the first test. So they laid a piece down. They got it. He said, you take the hammer and let's see what happens when you hit it. And here I am, I'm 21, 22 years old. I got all these PhDs. I said, what's going to happen when it hit it? So I hit it and it breaks. He goes, it breaks. And they said, well, write that down. So I wrote that down. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. But unknowingly, this is how stuff starts. Will it float? So they got a big bucket of water, and they dropped it into water and said, will it float? No, it doesn't float. It goes to the bottom. So this is what I did for 121 days. Fast forward, I get in the Air Force. Now, if you ever go in the military, the people that run the military are the sergeants. I walk in the room, I'm a lieutenant, I'm tough, I'm a lieutenant, I'm ready to go, right? No. This sergeant walks in, he's about 6'4". He's older than my father. I mean, para-jumper, whatever, ribbons, whatever, and walks in, we all these new lieutenants, and he says, okay, I want to know what y'all have done for the last 5 or 6 months. And the first guy says, well, I've worked with my father on his ranch or farm, whatever. And the next guy says, oh, well, I work with a stockbroker. And he said, now tell me what you did, not where you worked. I said, I broke glass, Sergeant. He said, son, go sit down there at the end of the room. So you have to tell the story why you were breaking glass. Because once I explained it to him, he said, still go sit down. I don't, what kind of glass were you breaking? Well, the glass I was breaking, little known to me, and even today I don't know the full impact because all I do is enjoy using the cell phone and the technology that we have. It's out there. So be someone that's going to get in that mode to have to go break some glass somewhere and, hopefully know more about it than I did. But the key thing here is opportunity. One last thing. Let me make sure I get one word planted. Commercialization. What this seminar is doing, we're talking about the space industry, what the different programs are, what the summer work programs, all that, is to figure out, like Randy was talking, where we took this Canadian student who had a fabulous idea. We got to get it commercialized. We got to get it out the back door. There are more vehicles. If you got an idea, find somebody. Find Randy Barrage. Find somebody here. Find somebody who will at least listen to you. Because what we're pushing is, we got a lot of great projects here, but what's going to create the jobs is pushing the product out the back door and commercializing it. Thank you very much.
The State Board of Administration, as all of you probably know, oversees Florida State Employee Pension Fund. There's billions of dollars in that. That money gets invested somewhere, and the State Board of Administration just made a decision, well, not just, it's been in place for a while now, to start increasing its investment in early stage companies here in Florida. Can you comment on the impact of that and what you foresee for it in the future?
John, thank you. And though my wife and our two daughters graduates of UCF, we've lived here in Florida since '79. We are Hoosiers by birth. So let me use Indiana as an example. And John, your reference to the state of Florida being number 3 in terms of size and number 15 or 16 in terms of the comparison of its economy in the world. Let me pick on Indiana. Any Hoosiers in the audience? Forgive me. All right. About 9 years ago, maybe 10 now, the state of Indiana, in partnership with the Eli Lilly Foundation, Eli Lilly Company, bless you, the marketing and economic development organizations in the central part of the state of Florida, elected to invest $50 million in the venture, John, that you've described, in order to help start and grow companies in Indiana in bio-life sciences. Leslie, you'd enjoy this amount of funding from the Eli Lilly Foundation, I'm sure. Why? They wanted to create jobs for their children, their nieces, their nephews, so that they wouldn't be an exporter of talent from the state of Indiana. We can do the same. We should do it. I think Ed Shones is back there Googling right now to get me. I texted him during John, your presentation, so I apologize. Ed Shones back there frantically Googling to see if we can get the number for you, the exact number, but I believe it's about half the states invest through their pension. Thank you. Through their pension. I should let the state guy tell their story. It's important. It's a way of using your resources to grow your companies in your state, to give you jobs, a chance to stay here in Florida without losing you to out of state. Lastly, if I may, John, look up Project Jumpstart in Cleveland. Same principle. They raised about $45 million, most of it from wealthy families in the area, but also their pension fund and some federal funding, to help create and grow companies in Cleveland so that the talent represented in this room, would have a chance to stay in your state, in your region, and have a meaningful job in your state or region. Thank you, John.
The older I got, we want to beg, borrow, or steal the best that's out there. There is so many things, programs, whether it's in Indiana, all this biomed, you can go on and you can find out. We're trying to be on the next edge and wave. So with the power that you have at your keyboard and with the companies you work for, you can source tremendous stuff. So one of the biggest things is making sure that we stay out, just looking over the horizon just a little bit. And John Wayne used to say, pioneers are the ones that come back with arrows in their back. We want the pioneer spirit, but we also want the company or the person who can really put it together and combine it all. And it's so interesting that we've got so many states investing here, and they're trying to do it stealthily, but we know who they are. But it's happening. Texas, even dear old California, who's having their tough times. New York, Massachusetts, Indiana, Illinois are investing here because what do they see? They see the talent that I'm looking at in this audience. They see the potential of growth and a great market to be in. So you don't read about this in the paper. I walked in a building in Tampa yesterday and they were in the Pennsylvania Teachers Retirement Fund owned this building. And I'm going, you got to be kidding me. You know, because they could go anywhere to invest that money. And there they are, doing it there.
So the competition isn't just in China, it's in Pennsylvania and
It's
Indiana
everywhere,
and
but it's more
California.
international. That interpreter that was in the bus, by the way, if you close your eyes and listen to the English, it was perfect. But let me tell you what was unarming. Obviously, the person spoke Mandarin, but they were absolutely, totally fluent in Spanish. They just sewed up 99% of the world. This guy. 3 languages. I'm saying, how do we hire him? I'd like to steal him. You know, how do we pick this guy up? I'm going, man, oh man, what? This is the competition right here. And I mean, if you could hear him speak Spanish, he spoke Spanish better than the King of Spain. I mean, it was gorgeous. And I'm going, what are we doing? Oh yeah, and could go from one to the other. Because we had 2 Spanish speaking delegates with us. And they didn't understand the nuances, and he explained in Spanish in detail the nuance of some project, and I'm going, I can't even do that in English. And here he is doing it in Spanish, and his first language is Mandarin. So this language thing is a big deal. So don't wait or don't shortchange it.
I think we're done.
Let it get too wet.